In my last video, my friends and I spent a night in a treehouse on the shores of Lake Ruhondo. This morning, we're heading back to Kigali via a local attraction that none of us have been to before. But first, we have to get across the lake. There are plenty of boats running from Ruhondo Beach Resort over to the car park, so we piled into one. Ruhondo is the smaller of the twin lakes in northern Rwanda. Its twin being Barera. The journey across the lake gives a beautiful view of the volcanoes, Muhabura in particular. There are 5 volcanoes on the Rwandan side of the range, and Muhabura is the second largest after Karasimbi. The lake is so beautiful. I'm just going to let this run for a moment.
I'm going ahead, not turning back. I'm moving on, not turning back. Up to the moon, there is no turning back. Where I was, to the future that I'd never known. I'll sing a song of victory ahead. Oh, I'm gonna dance to glories that I've made. Lying back, seeing through my time, imagining how life used to be.
When we got to the other side, we piled into the car and headed through the banana groves towards the city of Musanze. When we first arrived at the dock, it was already dark and we had to navigate by headlights. It was nice to finally see the road and the surrounding countryside. That's Muhabura up ahead. The roads are always busy in Rwanda, and you have to be careful of cyclists, animals and pedestrians. From here, we turned off towards Kinigi, which is gorilla country. This is where you come if you're going to trek the gorillas or the golden monkeys. As we got closer to the hills, the sky turned a very ominous colour, and soon the rain began. In 2022, American TV host Ellen DeGeneres teamed up with the Dian Fossey Fund to open a gorilla research campus. There's a museum attached, and it's open to the public, so we thought we'd go and have a look around. Hi guys, so my friends and I have just stayed in a treehouse on Lake Ruhondo for the weekend, and we're just heading back to Kigali now, so we thought that we'd drop ourselves off at the Ellen DeGeneres Gorilla Education Museum. So that's what we're doing now, we're just having a little wander around. Before we got to the serious stuff, we decided to grab a bite to eat at the cafe. The prices seemed really reasonable until we realised everything was advertised in dollars, which was confusing because businesses aren't supposed to do that. Maybe tourism businesses get special dispensation. You can pay in francs, but nothing is advertised in francs, and when you do the conversion, it works out pretty expensive. You can eat downstairs in the cafe, or there's an outside eating area upstairs. But because it was raining so hard, we tucked ourselves away in a side room that had some lovely gorilla artwork. The quesadilla and the wraps were delicious, but I would definitely recommend the smoothies over the soda. After that, we headed downstairs to reception. Before you're allowed to enter the museum, you have to give your name and email address. They say it's for their database and that they won't send you any spam mail, but we weren't allowed to decline if we wanted to enter. Ellen also appears on a nearby screen, encouraging you to visit the cafe and gift shop. But once you make it past all of that, the museum itself is really quite good. It contains a lot of information about Dian Fossey, and they've even reconstructed her original hut, which you can go inside and walk around. That was very cool, and sponsored by Sigourney Weaver, who played Dian Fossey in the film Gorillas in the Mist. This was a really fascinating fact. There was one particular silverback called Titus, who became an international star after a documentary was released about him. And Titus is the gorilla featured on the Rwandan 5,000 franc note. I had no idea that was a specific gorilla. This was another really interesting display. There's a huge picture covering one wall. I wasn't really sure what I was looking at until I read the description. It shows the boundary between Volcanoes National Park and surrounding farmland, where gorillas meet humans. It's really quite shocking to look at. This was particularly helpful, as I always forget the names of the volcanoes. The 5 on the right are in Rwanda, and Makeno, the second largest, is in DRC. There was also a virtual reality exhibit where you could get up close to the gorillas. All in all, it was a very nice museum. Outside, there's even a nature trail, which you can walk around when the weather's better. On the way back to Musanze, Joe pulled out these interesting snacks, which had the consistency of coltsfoot candy or Edinburgh rock, but the flavour of dried mango. Kind of interesting. It had definitely been raining whilst we were in the museum, and the drains were struggling to cope. But the sun was now out, and we had a clear view of the volcanoes. A lot of the shops in Kinigi have painted their fronts with imigongo patterns, which is a traditional art form in Rwanda. They look really good. We soon made it back to Musanze and stopped off at the local bus station. Joe needed to send a suitcase to a friend up in Gisenyi, and you can use local buses as couriers. It's always quite interesting to sit and watch the world go by at a bus park, as they're always really busy and full of people from all walks of life. If you're visiting Rwanda and wondering how to get about, just turn up to a bus station and shout out your destination. Someone will help you to buy a ticket and put you on the right bus. It can be a bit hectic, but trust in the process. Buses are cheap and run regularly between major towns. Then it was back on the road to Kigali. Taya had a hankering for sugarcane, so we stopped off at a roadside market to buy some. Sugarcane is super cheap in season. An entire cane costs 1,000 francs or less, but it takes real skill to prepare it. It's also very nice if you put it in the fridge and eat it cold on a hot day. We also saw these tiny mushrooms, which I've never seen for sale before. I bought a pineapple, some passion fruit, and some of these yellow fruits, which we call Chinese lanterns in the UK. Here, they're called gaperi, golden berries, or Cape gooseberries. I think their technical name is physalis. Back on the road, we listened to a podcast, whilst I snap pictures of beehives. You see these in trees all over Rwanda. Little banana leaf barrels where people harvest honey. We came back through Nyirangarama. If you want to know more about that place, check out my road trip to Gisenyi. After such a wonderful few days out in nature, it was a bit crazy coming back to the hustle and bustle of Kigali, but we brought back lots of lovely memories. And thank you to Jo, who drove us all the way there and back. She's a superhero.